Hey everyone, Fritz here. Welcome back to your 5-Minute Fridays, where I share a tip with you in order to get the weekend started off right. So today's tip is going to be about having a protection plan. Now this is a great segue from last week's segment in which we talked about having an emergency fund. You can think of your protection plan like a bigger or a more long-term emergency fund. Your situation is going to be different. How you choose your protection plan may vary, but you want to follow some good practices no matter which plan that you choose to go with. Number one is that we want to make sure that we are investing this money, but that investment is a secure and safe investment. An example of this is going to be an index. Index, what they do is they give you some upside limitation in exchange for downside protection. And just to use some numbers, if we're looking at say 15 and 0, 15 being the cap, 0 being the floor, if the market does anything between 0 or 15, that is exactly what you'll get. But if the market ever goes above 15, say 20, you will get the 15% gain, and the company that you're using to invest in, they will keep the 5%. In exchange, if the market ever goes into the negative, this is what I love so much about indexes, if the market ever goes into the negative, you will just break even, keep it at 0. And then that'll transfer on to the next year. So no matter what, your account is always going to be growing or at least staying the same. And then also we want to make sure that this money is even more inconvenient to get to than our emergency fund money. So having a professional look over this account or manage this account might be something that you want to consider, because then you're going to have to go out of your way to contact that professional in order to access the money for yourself. And then another thing too is that we want to make sure that this protection plan has even more money than our emergency fund, because again, we want to protect ourselves if we ever lose our primary source of income and protect our assets as well. Why would you ever lose your primary source of income? If the market ever does bad, then companies, they end up doing layoffs. If you ever get injured on the job and you have to be out for a significant amount of time, workers' comp does not pay you your original salary, it gives you a percentage. How are you able to compensate for that loss of income? And it protects your assets, because a lot of times when people lose their primary source of income, they end up having to sell things like their house or their car. So the goal is, with a proper protection plan, is if you lose your primary source of income, you still have income coming in without having to sell big ticket items like your house or your car. And if you're following your best practices that I shared with you just a second ago, then you are gonna ensure that no matter what happens, while your back is turned, that your protection plan is growing for you no matter what, and that it will be there for you whenever you need it. So that is gonna be your tip for this Friday. Have a great weekend, guys. See you next week.